During the election campaign, Mr. Harper, based on fiscal monitor of the time, said that the surplus was so far $2 billion.
Right.
Now it's only $1 billion. Is it not the proof that this fiscal monitor is not a cumulative thing? Revenue entries change over the year, and it's not because you had a budget surplus for the first couple of months that you will have a budget a surplus at the end of the year.
And I understand what you're saying, and that's what the Liberals say. It's only a snapshot in time, but here's the thing. On November 4th, they had a surplus, and we can see that from the fiscal monitor. If we were in charge, if we were the government, and we saw the fact that we went from a $2 billion surplus to a $1 billion surplus, we would take action. And we would figure out how to ensure that the surplus would stay to the end of the fiscal year. And that's the whole point. This, going forward, is completely in the hands of the Liberal government. The decisions that they make and that they take will be the ones that they're held to account for because we gave them a surplus. So we would have been able to do things in order to ensure that a surplus would happen at the end because we said that was important to us, and we expect that the Liberals should do that instead of continuously saying money is cheap, therefore we should spend it, which we don't think is a prudent way to manage Canadians' taxpayers' dollars.
Oui, le gouvernement n'a pas un problème de revenus, le gouvernement a un problème de dépenses et comme le dit ma collègue, le gouvernement contrôle les dépenses et il peut le faire et arriver à un équilibre budgétaire au 31 mars prochain. Oui.
Is that the real measure of the strength of the economy, though, just that there's a surplus on the books for a 9-month period out of the year, or is it more about the job structure?
So what I'm going to talk about today in my speech, and Maxime probably will talk about the importance of having low deficits and no deficits and paying down debt, has always been our fundamental. Jim Flaherty started his budget speech in 2009 talking about the fact that the important thing we did between 06 and 08 when we had surpluses was pay down our debt. That put us in a position that we could actually weather the economic storm. We always feel very, very strongly about the fact we need to have our house in order to deal with whatever happens from the outside. That includes balanced budgets, and that includes small deficits that do end up not being on the books on a long-term basis. So yes, we should be measured by our deficits. Yes, we should be measured by our debt. We should be measured by how we pay it down. That gives you tools to deal with things that are not of your own making that happen. I'll give you another example. In 2014, two of the things that we had to deal with were the Alberta floods, which were very costly, and Lac Megantic, which was devastating, both in terms of what happened to people and families and what happened in terms of the economy of that place. We were able to deal with those two major shocks to the Canadian domestic system and still go into surplus. And that's because we're prudent with the way we manage issues. So yeah, it matters.
The economic and fiscal update, we had in the fall $3 billion. What to make of that? Because we had Department of Finance officials, helping.
Sure, it was a plug number. I mean, I took my brief from the officials and I said, "Where did you get these numbers?" Well, we've downgraded the forecast and we've increased what we think our projection is. So they're made-up numbers. They're good numbers. They've obviously put some work around it where they think it's going to be going in the future. But I'm going to go back to what I said before. If we had been given those numbers by the finance officials, then a Joe Oliver or a Stephen Harper would have made decisions to ensure that we were able to deal with that. And this Liberal government, all they want to do is continue to spend and seem to try to blame us for some kind of deficit that they say they have, and they don't. And we're going to talk about that today because our legacy is important. What we did for Canadians was important. We feel strongly about it. Maxime.
Vous avez entendu hier le premier ministre en Alberta dire vouloir venir en aide à une communauté durement éprouvée. Vous nous parlez ce matin de dépenses extravagantes. Est-ce que vous craignez pas le pire dans ce que vous avez entendu du discours de Justin Trudeau hier en Alberta?
Bien, je pense que M. Trudeau fait les mauvais choix. Un politicien doit prendre des choix et des choix difficiles et il fait les mauvais choix. Et il doit faire les bons choix pour arriver à l'équilibre budgétaire et ça peut se faire en ayant des priorités. Ce qui semble prioritaire pour M. Trudeau et le gouvernement actuellement, c'est toutes les dépenses. On dirait qu'il fait plaisir à l'ensemble des groupes de pression au Canada et donc il n'y a pas de limite aux dépenses étatiques actuellement. J'aimerais que ce gouvernement-là soit un gouvernement responsable et oui, peut répondre aux besoins des Canadiens en faisant les bons choix. Merci.
Et en même temps, M. Bernier, il y a des chroniqueurs ce matin qui n'ont pas de faible habituellement pour les libéraux, qui disent merci à Justin Trudeau de tendre la main à une communauté qui a besoin d'aide et qui souffre.
Ben oui, c'est bien correct de le faire, mais moi, ce que je dis dans ses choix des autres dépenses, il peut arriver puis tendre la main à une communauté, c'est bien de le faire, mais il doit faire des choix difficiles, les autres dépenses qu'il doit ne pas faire. Là, actuellement, pour lui, tous les gens au Canada qui lui demandent des sommes d'argent, on dirait dirait que la manne est ouverte et donc on distribue de l'argent qu'on n'a pas. C'est bien pour lui de tendre la main à une communauté qui en a besoin, mais il devrait prendre des décisions importantes dans d'autres dossiers pour arriver à équilibrer le budget.